Okay, a little bit from Romans 1. Since what may be known about God is plain to them, because God has made it plain to them. For since the creation of the world, God's invisible qualities, his eternal power and divine nature have been clearly seen, being understood from what has been made, so that people are without excuse. And what this verse is telling us, in essence, is that even creation itself, never mind all that we do here on a Sunday, even just creation itself, our world points people towards God himself, the Creator. And you just have to look around at the stars and the mountains and the seas, and we live in a wonderful area in which we can just experience creation. What he's created directs into us. And during holiday times this year, we're doing a sort of mini-series on animals. Animals created by God that are mentioned in the Bible. And as you heard, last week it was, any children, what was it? Ants. And if, like me, you haven't heard it yet, the wonders of recording is it'll still be there for you to have a go at. So it was ants. And so, children, or anyone else, if I use any big words today, please feel free to immediately ask your parents or whoever's brought you what they might mean. Or you can come and ask me afterwards. There's also a few worksheets, if you want something to do afterwards, that I put on the piano at the back. A few months ago, we were blessed, after a long talk and decision, to go and buy a new telly. And having had the previous one for a lot of years, and various bits not working on it, and you couldn't do all sorts, and try to link a computer to it, and it just goes all over the place. We bought a new telly after some research. It's a revelation. How clear and beautiful the picture is that is shown to us. And one of the things we have enjoyed most has been watching the David Attenborough programs. Ones like Blue Planet, Life on Earth, Planet Earth. They're astounding, the photography of seeing these animals and fish and insects and birds, whales, how they hunt, shoals of fish, how they avoid being hunted. Watching sort of majestic animals like flamingos in groups as they dance. It is just phenomenal. The Creator's hand in it all. You see rays, stingrays, flying, literally flying out of the water. They say, and they don't know why they do it. I think they do it because they can. Because they love to do it. It's a joyful thing. And one of my favorites, if ever you catch it, is a thing called the angelfish. Amazing deep water Arctic fish, which is far from angelic, but looks like an angel. There are so many different kinds of birds and animals, creatures, insects, reptiles, all interrelated. And the hand of God behind it all is clearly seen. And some animals just seem to be funny. If you take something like a bumblebee, up until mid-last century, scientists did not believe it was possible. They couldn't explain how a bumblebee could fly because of its dimensions to its wings. And it's only later on did they discover that bumblebees do not fly like birds, but they do a different forward stroke like this, up and down like this, which enables them to actually fly and do what they're meant to do. Some animals are very familiar, but their behavior is just quite fascinating. And so we come to my animal, the animal designated to me, which is a donkey. Of all of those animals, I don't think donkeys appear on David Attenborough's programs very often, but a donkey is mine. So, has anyone seen one? I don't mean that one. I mean that one, like that. Yes. Has anyone actually seen a donkey live? Simon has. Any children, have you actually seen a donkey? Gosh, not very many. You have at the back. Excellent. Excellent. Has anyone ridden on a donkey? Yes, I thought there'd be a few adults now coming. Yes. Very good. So you... And what do you think about when you see a donkey? What do you think about? Anything that comes up? Yes, Molly?
I think about the noise
The noise
it makes.
it makes, that's a good one. We'll come to that. Anything else? What else? They're smelly. Interesting. Interesting. Yep. Well, donkeys, smelly, strange sounds, stubborn nature perhaps, the big ears, the fact that they're quite small really. Does anyone know what one sounds like? Can anyone make a sound of a donkey? Go on then, Park. No. Well, let's have a go. Go, Callum. E-or. Okay. You didn't know I could do that, did you? Donkeys are also known in the Bible as other things. They're known as asses. They're known, when they're crossbred with horses, they're known as mules. There's lots of other types as well. But quite importantly, a young donkey is called a colt. And in the Bible, the donkey is mentioned at least 130 times. 130 times, so that's quite important. And it's very significant in Bible times, in the life of people who lived in Bible times, as it is now. I read this week there are 53 million donkeys estimated, 2/3 of which are in Africa, and another great chunk in South America. So it shows just how important these animals still are to economies. And why was the donkey such an important animal in Bible times and still is? Well, I'm going to tell you. Oh, are you going to tell me? I didn't hear that. Yes. Yes, let's go through. First of all, efficiency. They're an extremely efficient animal. They can live and work up to 50 years old. Also, in terms of their food, they can live off very poor pasture land, scrubland, and they are extremely efficient in the use of the food that they eat. 95% of what they use goes on energy and sustaining them, which means that their manure, this is all interesting stuff, isn't it? Their manure is not very good for growing anything else because the donkey uses it themselves. It survives very well in hot climates. It can cope with it. And those big ears, which actually can hear another donkey or another sound up to 60 miles away, is actually a cooling system, apparently. Quite amazing. They also were a major transport, as the people who have ridden on them would know. Well done, thank you. Used all over the world. Parked outside their house for everyone to use for getting about. Used for haulage. Out of proportion sizes. But these are willing workers. They're easily trained and sure-footed. Also, interestingly, they're used for protection. They have such a thing as a guard donkey. And donkeys have a very strong sense of danger, and they're used to guard other animals in places. They bond with those animals. They'll warn them and defend them. And if predators come by, they will attack them. They will charge them, they will bite them, they will kick them, they will butt them. They're a protection. My mother, I was brought up with horses, and my mother worked with them as a job, and looking after horses, taking them to shows and various events. And horses can be quite unstable, particularly when traveling. So they used to take a donkey with them because the donkey was calm, and it calmed the other horses that were in the horse box during travel. And not only do donkeys bond with horses, they bond with each other. They are a community animal, and with other animals, and with the people who look after them. Are they stubborn? That's a reputation that they have. Actually, it's been found that donkeys are highly intelligent, and they will not be forced to do things that are not in their best interest, which is why they might appear stubborn. And Bible stories constantly mention them. Abraham had one, Moses had one, Job had 500 female ones of them. So he was a rich man. I have to say, sadly though, that donkeys aren't actually mentioned in the nativity story in the Bible. Now that comes as a bit of a shock. But I think it's reasonable to suppose that when Joseph was taking Mary 100 miles and she was heavily pregnant, she probably went on a donkey. In the Old Testament, in the book of Numbers 20, God gives a donkey's apparent stubbornness as a means to teach a prophet called Balaam by speaking to him. Can't imagine what that must have been like. But you can read about that in Numbers 20. And Jesus used stories, parables, he called them, to teach people about God's kingdom and how to live in it. In answer to a question, who is my neighbor? Jesus uses the story of the Good Samaritan, which you'll be very familiar with. Children will be very familiar with. And you will notice that there is a donkey as a key. As other people left this man to suffer, the Samaritan, somebody who the Jews hated, picked him up, tended to his wounds, put him on his donkey, and took him to an inn. But for me, there is one key story in the Bible where a donkey is involved that Molly's going to come up and read about now.
Matthew 21, verse 1 to 9. When they neared Jerusalem, having arrived at Bethphage on Mount Olives, Jesus sent 2 disciples with these instructions. Go over to the village across from you. You'll find a donkey tethered there, her colt with her. Untie her and bring them to me. If anyone asks what that you're doing, say, the master needs them. He will send them with you. This is the full story of what was sketched earlier by the prophet. Tell Zion's daughter, look, your king's on his way, poised and ready, mounted on a donkey, on a colt, full of a pack animal. The disciples went and did exactly what Jesus told them to do. They led the donkey and colt out, laid on some of their clothes on them, and Jesus mounted. Nearly all the people in the crowd threw their garments down on the road, giving him a royal welcome. Others cut branches from trees and threw them down as a welcome mat. Crowds went ahead and crowds followed, all of them calling out, Hosanna to David's son. Blessed is he who comes in God's name. Hosanna in highest heaven.
Thank you, Molly. Jesus' time had come. After preaching, teaching, praying, healing, and performing miracles in the countryside and the towns surrounding, Jesus decides to enter Jerusalem, knowing that this would lead soon to his arrest, his torture, his humiliation, his trial, his death, which was the plan, which is the plan to save us all. And many would have thought that this miracle worker, this great teacher, would have ridden on a white stallion to take his victory. But Jesus chose a donkey. Why is that? Well, firstly, I suppose because they were available. Secondly, as was explained in the piece Molly read, it was prophesied in Zechariah 9:9 that this is how the king would arrive, on a donkey. And by riding on a donkey rather than a powerful horse or a camel, Jesus sort of associates with ordinary folk and demonstrates his mission as a servant king is to bring peace. Peace actually with God. Peace, not war. Not as a war-waging ruler that some expected. And by riding a beast of burden, a pack animal, Jesus affirmed his humble status as one who came, as much says in Mark 10, not to be served, but to serve. Now, donkey is sometimes has been used as an insulting term, you donkey. Or a bit like a pig, chicken, cow. Probably heard that in school too. Unpleasant, insulting words, because they're a reputation for being stubborn. They're noisy, we've heard that. And they're small and insignificant. And I hope you can now see that actually this animal is special. Created by God for a purpose, chosen by Jesus with a character of humility, service, as a protector and a comforter. That's the donkey. These are Christ-like ways of living in the kingdom that we are called to as well. So, call me a donkey. If you like, I don't mind. I might give you a kick when you're not looking. One last thing, though, which is a bit curious and not in the Bible. So we're going to be careful about it. But it's something that I learnt that I didn't know about, having been around donkeys, but I didn't know about, whilst I was doing a bit of research on them. And like a zebra, zebras are very distinct because of their markings. A donkey, virtually all donkeys have a particular marking. Some are very visible, like that one. Some are not so visible, but it is a cross. A cross marking, crossbar across what's called the withers, across the middle of them, and the length. And I've been checking that out on that great theological reference work, Google. And there are loads and loads of pictures with crosses on. Now, read into that what you may. I just found it a real interesting curiosity to remember why this donkey is important. But I'll tell you something the Bible does say. It says Jesus will not, when Jesus returns, it will not be on a donkey this time. It will be on that white horse. And everybody will know who he is. Every knee will bow. Amen.